Is this possibly the most hated Session Skate Sim map? We're gonna play it today anyway. I'm talking about FDR. I already did a video on this a while ago, a video that did pretty well, but I honestly think it's probably the most disliked, the most hated. Pretty obvious why. They released a very transition heavy map without actually updating the transition physics at all. Yeah, I reckon we can get some pretty nice tricks here regardless of Session's bad transition physics, so let's just get into it. I think as well with the new roadmap that we have got recently, they do seem to be working on kind of overhauling the core skating, whatever that really means. But that could potentially mean that we are going to see some actual transition kind of updates, or at least just some physics updates that are going to make transition skating a lot easier, a lot smoother. Although one big thing that is definitely going to change transition skating is the new camera update. It basically means that the camera is now going to rotate with you on a trick on transition. I feel like that's almost going to make skating a map like this even more difficult. I do like this little kind of starting spot that you spawn at though. You can get some pretty cool tricks into the bowl there. I think a lot of people really don't like the devs for releasing this map when they didn't actually give us any proper transition physics, and especially because they didn't give us any grabs. So a lot of people were hoping that because they released this map, that was like a little kind of teaser to be like, okay, the next update is going to be a transition update. I think people thought that that meant they were going to include grabs and obviously make transition skating kind of a bigger part of this game, but that pretty much never happened. So this map was almost kind of like a slap in the face to be like, here's a really, really well made transition map with some of the coolest spots, but we're just not going to actually give you the tools to be able to skate it. So you're just gonna have to try and kind of get the most out of it that you can without actually being able to really do much of any transition stuff. But I do still think there is fun to be had here, and I do appreciate when I see people get clips here. Anyway, there's some really cool spots that are kind of darted around this map that I feel like people often miss. Oh. Okay, that was kind of cool. I maybe could have tricked out of it. That would have been nice. I think this map really calls for some cool tech tricks because it has so many like unique obstacles. Again, like a lot of the stuff kind of skates weirdly or doesn't skate how you'd think because of Session's, you know, physics, but it's still fun to mess around and see what you can do. Okay, that was kind of insane. That is really cool though. Big varial hail into it. We got this little hubba that's tucked away here as well. I think like tricks like that on this map are just so good. Just little spots like that, little quick technical like 2-piece, 3-pieces are so good on this map. I can't help but feel like spots like this were put in more just for the aesthetic than actual skateability. I mean, like, how are you supposed to really hit anything worthwhile in a tiny bowl like this in a game that doesn't really have transition physics? Like, it looks cool, but, you know, we don't really have the means to actually land anything worthwhile. These definitely are my favorite types of obstacles to kind of experiment with. It's just these little spots that just make this map fun, you know? Alright, let's actually try and get something on this thing here. I don't even know how exactly I would hit this. Oh yeah, I think lip slide is gonna be the one we can get over it. Oh, come on. Okay, that was much cleaner. That was actually so sick. Could definitely get a nice two-piece line though if we get a trick into that and then get something on this. This is pretty cool. You have this little like walkway up here. Hey, a little challenge completed. But yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy that they actually do have a vert ramp here. And they have a mini ramp right behind it, I actually forgot about that. So a vert ramp and a mini ramp in a game that doesn't have transition physics is crazy. But I do enjoy this little course that they have built, it's pretty fun. Since we're skating some street, we'll head over to the actual DIY section here, which is definitely one of my favorite places to skate. And it still has some transition, and it's a lot more mellow transition, like a lot of these cool little quarter pipes and stuff, that again are really fun to actually experiment with and try some cool stuff on. Nice little wally there. That was pretty nice. That might be my favorite clip so far. That was actually really cool. Let's see if I can just wally over this. Yeah. Cool little kind of spine transfer here as well, which is really smooth to skate. That was really clean. Little ghetto bird. Nice hard flip. That was nice, man. I like that. Alright, we're gonna skate some of this really sketchy looking DIY stuff over here. Nice kickflip feeble. That's pretty cool. We didn't really land into the wood. That was much better. Nice, nollie tray back 50. Big back Smith, that was beautiful. Alright, let's try and get a back feeble. Kickflip out. There we go, that was a bit better. I'll take that. That was pretty sick. That was really pinched. Alright, that's quite a nice trick to end on, but I think I'm going to call it. I think we have skidded this map enough. Hopefully it's inspired some of you guys to come and hit FDR up, because like I said, it's definitely one of the most hated maps in this game, and definitely one of the most underskidded maps. With good reason, because obviously, you know, a lot of it is kind of unskiddable, or at least really challenging to skid. Hopefully, you know, you guys can see that there is actually quite a lot of fun to be had here, and there's definitely a lot of cool tricks that can go down, and I'd love to see some more clips here. But I'm going to put all of today's clips back to back at the end here. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.